think the small intestine actually sort of absorbs food? Like structures that it's got there. What is interesting about how the inside of the small intestine looks?
Like close up?
Yeah.
I would imagine it's got lots of little holes that only allow, like as in like in the structure of it, that only allow things of certain size to pass through and things of other sizes pass by.
I think you're going too small for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the surface area. No, I mean like I get what you're saying there, like a sort of selective membrane. Yeah. Like sure, there are sort of
the blood-brain barrier is something like that, I think.
I mean, yeah, so it does have holes insofar as all sort of membranes and sort of cells have like holes, right? In that it lets certain, like, and when we say holes, not like a hole like your mouth, like it's letting molecules pass through. Yeah. But what I find interesting about the small intestine, and pretty much anything that really wants to absorb a lot of stuff, is do you know what villi are?
Are they like little hairs?
Well, not exactly hairs. Yeah, I mean they're kind of folds, right? I think of them more as sort of fingers. So the membrane of the small intestine, right? The stuff that basically the barrier that stuff's being absorbed through, right? It has these things called villi, and on each villus is a bunch of microvilli. And what villi are sort of folds, like sort of projections. So think of it like on the inside of a tube, it's kind of folding, so it's kind of got finger shapes. And on each finger, there are more little fingers on the outside. And essentially what that does is just increase the surface area. Like you were saying earlier, Luke, right? If you've got more surface area, then the absorption is going to be better. Do you know why that sort of is the case for anyone that's not really getting it?
Yeah, so like so since Corey's brought up fingers, if you imagine like a finger, right? And then the surface area of the finger, like the amount of skin on your finger, and then imagine your finger had little bumps on it. The like distance you would travel to go along the length of your finger would be longer because of those bumps. In the same way that if you walked the width of a mountain, it's less distance than if you walked up and down a mountain, right? Just because it is. So like it's sort of like that, right? And so it is like a crazy transformation when you get like enough small, densely packed bumps on something.
Oh yeah.
It like doubles, triples many times the surface area of something.
Yeah, and more surface area is really useful in this instance because surface area is what you want, because you need to be basically in contact with the surface to be absorbed through it, right? And so the more surface you've got, the more absorption you can have in a smaller space, let's say, right? Or the more effective your absorption would be, right? For example, if you just had a bare tube, like a hose on the inside of you, right? The only contact any of that sort of like partially digested food, the only contact that would have would just be with the inside of that tube, right? So it would just be the surface area of the inside of the tube, which if you think about how big your small intestine is, I mean, it's got to fit inside of you, so it can't be that big, can't be that long, right? So the inside of it, it's not that much, right? But because of these villi and the microvilli, these sort of folds or projections to increase the surface area, the absorptive surface area of the small intestine is about 250 square meters, which is like roughly a tennis court.
Yes, I've heard that statistic before.
Yeah.
That is insane. It's sort of like your fingerprints as well. That's like a little bumps increase the surface area, which increases the friction, which means you can grip onto stuff better.
Yeah.
And we don't think about it, at our scale, we don't think about it at all.
Oh yeah.
But if you were to go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down over every ridge of your fingerprint, you'd travel so much further than the distance of your finger.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's
cool.
the same as the mountain sort of analogy you were saying there. Yeah. Like a straight path is always going to be shorter than a path like,
up and
down the mountain.
But then imagine up and down 50 mountains.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and imagine each mountain, and for the inside of your small intestine, imagine each mountain had another smaller mountain on it.
Mountains all the way down. Yeah,
it's brilliant. So yeah, these villi and microvilli basically just increase how much absorption you can have there.